everyone. Sorry for the less than normal, production values I've been shooting for. My new webcam actually just broke, and I can't get the green screen that I have to work for some reason, so I had to take that one down. But, enough about that. Happy Easter. I hope everyone is having a good day. I hope everyone is, healthy and safe at home. Emphasize at home. But that's not what I want to talk about again today. I don't want to be talking about COVID-19 on these videos. That's not really what I'm doing. What I instead want to talk about is the recent tweet from DSA, which was, "We are not endorsing Joe Biden." Now, this has caused a massive firestorm on Twitter from the liberals who are saying, "Oh, so you want to re-elect Trump, or you are being childish, or whatever." And even Reza Aslan, who is someone that I actually kind of like, is on this saying, "Breaking news, at Democratic Socialist endorses Trump for president." And I immediately just have to... Oh my god. Okay. For one, this isn't breaking news. I was at the convention in August. We voted on this there. We decided then and there that if Bernie is not the nominee, we won't endorse another Democratic candidate. This was made months ago. If you're shocked by this now, you weren't paying attention. So go away. You're just, you're not even worth talking to at this point. Secondly, we are not endorsing Joe Biden is not the same as saying we are supporting Donald Trump. An endorsement is not the same as a vote when you're talking about an organization like DSA or any other organization. What an endorsement for an organization does is it means that you are going to be putting time and resources and money and mobilizing your membership to then go out and get support for that candidate. That's what an endorsement means. It means nothing about how your members will vote or, what the other... what they think about the other candidate. We did not endorse Hillary Clinton in 2016. We did not endorse Obama in 2012. There was no firestorm then. In fact, there are many elections DSA has not endorsed anyone in. We did not endorse in 1992, 1996. We did not endorse in 2000. DSA did endorse John Kerry in 2004, a movement many members look back on not particularly favorably towards, and they endorsed Obama in 2008 due to the historical significance of it. But those were the only times that DSA endorsed a candidate in the general election since 1984 when they endorsed Walter Mondale. That's it. This is not unusual for the DSA to not endorse in the general election. In the primaries, DSA endorsed Bernie in 2016 and 2020, of course, but they also endorsed Jesse Jackson in 1988, and that's it. So DSA presidential endorsements are not a universal. They are somewhat rare in many cases. So that's, I think that's a little ridiculous that a lot of people are saying that DSA is now trying to elect Trump, because that's not what we're actually trying to do here. What DSA not endorsing Joe Biden means is we're not putting our time, money, resources, or energy into helping his campaign. That's it. Individual DSA members can go and do that if they want to. I personally will not be, and this is not because I am voting for another candidate. It's also not because I'm voting for Joe Biden. I am going to keep my personal plans for the presidential election to myself. I don't plan to vote for any... I don't plan to make that public who I plan to vote for. There are a number of candidates I'm looking at, but, I will make my own decision, and that's for me to know and you to not find out. E Pluribus Unum in the chat just said that DSA endorsed Nader at least once. Actually, they did not. Many prominent members and leaders in DSA did endorse Ralph Nader in 2000, including most notably Barbara Ehrenreich, one of the founding leaders of DSA. But the organization itself did not endorse in 2000, and many other members supported Al Gore, and others supported the Socialist Party candidate David McReynolds. So, it's not entirely true on that one. The DSA does not have a track record at the presidential level of endorsing third-party candidates. So, I just want to get that out of the way first and foremost. And then I do need to address the people who think we have some sort of responsibility to endorse Joe Biden. Why? We're the Democratic Socialists of America, but when we say Democratic Socialists, that is not saying anything about our relationship to the Democratic Party. We are a completely independent, separate organization. We are not the Democratic Party. I myself am a Democratic precinct committee man. I usually vote for Democratic candidates on most elections. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and I'm not, again, not going to say my plans for the 2020 election at the presidential level, but we have not, you know, we are not a Democratic Party organization. We are not committed to support the Democratic Party candidate. And, even if we're going to consider supporting the Democratic Party candidate, why would we support Joe Biden? He's expressly anti-socialist. He just put out stickers that said, with the word socialist and plutocrat crossed out and then Democrat below it. And I'm just like, that's pretty clear that he's making a case that he's an anti-socialist candidate. So why would we, as a socialist organization, support an anti-socialist candidate? It's just utterly illogical. We have our goals. They are not in line with Joe Biden's goals, so we don't endorse Joe Biden. Period. End of story. And if you're saying that, we have to endorse him because not endorsing Joe Biden is therefore endorsing Trump, no, that's not what it means at all. What it means is that we're going to devote our time, energy, and resources and our money to other campaigns that are of more, strategic value to us and which do more to help us accomplish our goals. So, that's not at all what this is about. Many DSA members will vote for Joe Biden. Others will vote for third-party candidates, or some may not vote at all, although I don't think many DSA members will be not voting, except maybe some anarchist members. And that's their right. They can do that if they want, but the organization as a whole is not dictating to its members how they would recommend that they vote. And I personally am adhering to a logic of I am not going to criticize or shame anyone who decides they are going to vote for Joe Biden or they are going to vote for a third party. If they decide they're going to vote for Trump or the Libertarian candidate or whatever, I will criticize them, and quite heavily so, because I do not support those. I fundamentally do not support them at all, and they are fully antithetical to what I believe socialists need to do, and it's just accelerationism at the end of the day, which is a fundamentally privileged position. If you are voting, there's a case to be made for harm reduction, which many who advocate that would say Joe Biden is the one, and there's the ones that advocate for principle, and that would be voting for a third party. Voting for, Trump or anyone else would be fundamentally at odds with the values and principles of any socialist organization. So obviously, I highly discourage people from doing that. I don't plan to put any of my time, energy, or resources personally towards the presidential campaign at all. I'll focus on down ballot campaigns. I'll focus on non-electoral activities, helping workers trying to unionize, helping trying to get local ordinances and laws passed, things like that. I'm not going to focus all my effort and energy on the electoral cycle when I don't really have a horse in the race at all. So, I'm not going to vote, or I'm not going to campaign for Joe Biden or a third-party candidate like I did in 2016. That is my personal decision, and I will still be voting, but I won't make my mind up about that. But I do also want to slightly criticize those that are saying, this opens up the door for DSA to endorse a third-party candidate. I personally would not support that. While I'm not making any definitive statement as to who I'm voting for in November, I don't think there's much for DSA to gain from endorsing a third-party candidate at all. We are trying to build our organization, and in many ways, we are taking a stance that is both principled and practical. Endorsing a third-party candidate would be alienating to all but the, for lack of a better term, the party faithful, and supporting Joe Biden would alienate our own members who stand on principle. It just wouldn't make sense to do anything. We would alienate more people than we would gain by endorsing a third party. It would be more beneficial to said third party than to DSA, so I do not advocate doing that. But it's just, some of the responses to DSA's original tweet are just kind of hilarious. And Reza Aslan is just one example, but you also had people saying DSA is now officially irrelevant. And it's like, you guys were going to write us off as irrelevant anyways. You've been saying we're irrelevant for over a year. So why are you saying that now we're suddenly irrelevant? Whatever. I just need to look through some of these responses. Grant Stern, who got a blue checkmark by his name, who is, looks like some sort of morning radio show host or whatever, an author, he has said, so you're endorsing Trump. Got it. No, that's not how this works. As I said, this is not a personal endorsement saying who we're voting for. Organizations don't vote. People vote. That's not how any of this works. Some people are saying, oh, thank you. The endorsement would have hurt Biden. And you've shown your true colors by equating Biden with Trump, a real fascist. Now you can go back to being totally irrelevant. And that's from John Cooper, who is the former chair of the Democratic Coalition and the National Finance Chair for Draft Biden 2016 and the Long Island Campaign Chair for the Barack Obama campaign. Again, you're saying that we're irrelevant. Why are you even paying attention to us in the first place? And in your eyes, were we ever relevant to you? And again, we made this point. We made this decision democratically months ago. The worst one I've seen, I need to go back and find it because this was utterly hilarious when I found it. But it was, God, where is? I need to go back and find the one, but there was one person who was a writer for Dissent magazine, who's also written a couple articles for Jacobin, I guess, who I had never heard of before. And let me go back and find them. Nathan Newman is their name. And they made a tweet saying, this decision was made without a vote of the membership, and it's why I'm not renewing my DSA membership. I would bet if a full vote of the membership was done, members would endorse Biden to defeat Trump, but that won't be allowed. Okay, firstly, you are clearly know nothing about DSA's membership if you think that we would vote to endorse Joe Biden against Donald Trump strategically. We voted at, the vote for Bernie endorsement, which was not actually a referendum, it was a non-binding membership poll, which was then ratified by the NPC, who made the final decision on this. That was already controversial enough, even though it passed with, something like 80% of the membership. There were still a lot of people who were highly critical of it. Some because they didn't think DSA should really be involved in electoral politics at all, and some who thought, oh, we should, this is not a good thing to spend the money on. They had criticisms of the plan in particular. I personally voted for it and for the independent expenditure campaign. That was it. There isn't a process for binding membership referendums in it. And then at the convention, which is the highest decision-making body of DSA, the delegates to are elected by the chapters and by the at-large membership. They are both chapter and at-large delegates. They got to make a decision there on a resolution submitted by the membership and endorsed by a certain number of DSA members to say, we support endorsing someone else in the general election, or will we say if Bernie's not the nominee, we won't endorse? We voted, I was there, I voted for this resolution. We voted to say no, we will not endorse another candidate, and it was debated. There was the whole process to it, and it was a valid and overwhelming decision by the elected delegates who were representative of DSA's national membership. So by saying that there was no sort of input process on this decision, you don't know how the organization works, and clearly you were at best a paper member before you got involved at all, if you were really even a member at all. So this is, this guy doesn't know anything about how DSA works or anything. And now there are people who are saying, oh, the left has shown its true colors by, God, it's just, some of these responses are absolutely ridiculous. These liberals are just, their heads are just utterly exploding that we wouldn't do it. But why would we do it in the first place? It would be utterly illogical for a socialist organization to endorse a candidate who is antithetical to our goals and principles. And to those who are saying that we therefore endorse Trump, no, that's not how anything works. So, just feck off with that nonsense, and yeah. I personally think a majority of DSA's members will vote for Biden in the November election. There is basically a given, in my opinion. I think a majority of DSA's members voted for Hillary in the last election, and a minority voted for Jill Stein or another third party. I personally voted for Jill Stein. I don't necessarily regret my vote, particularly because I live in Kansas, so my vote in that election didn't really matter. Trump won Kansas by over 20 points. I don't think the less than 1% of Kansans that voted for Jill Stein would have had any impact on Trump's overwhelming victory there. So, whatever. And at the same time as us saying we're not going to endorse Biden, I feel like that if we were a different organization, there, like if we were some sort of moderate centrist mainstream organization, there would be Trump people saying, if we said we weren't going to support Trump, they would be like, oh, well, then you're endorsing Biden. Okay, that's not how it works either. It doesn't work like that. It's not a binary. And I have heard this from quite a few of the comments saying that we need to stop viewing everything as black and white, that it's either our way or the highway. And it's like, you're viewing it the exact same way. You're telling us that we have endorsed Trump by not endorsing Joe Biden, but now you're saying that politics is not black and white and we need to see the shades of gray. Where is that standard being applied to us? We see the shades of gray here, and we say, okay, we're not endorsing Joe Biden, but that doesn't mean that we're endorsing Trump. So, complete and utter rational disconnect there. Why would they even see it? And then even if we were going to endorse Biden, maybe he should have to ask for it first. Hillary Clinton never asked for our endorsement. We didn't endorse her. Maybe they should ask first before we give it. This thing isn't free. We will give it away if we feel that there is a candidate who is worthy of our endorsement. But if not, they should have to come and ask for it in the first place. So no, this is not an endorsement for Trump. No, we are not, becoming utterly irrelevant. The people who are saying that are, being complete and utter fools. One of the people who said that we're irrelevant, I guess, is a Virginia state senator, and we got Lee Carter in Virginia. He's a state representative. He just got a bill passed on, I forget, some Medicaid related bill passed. I'm sure you're a Democrat who, you're a Democratic state rep. I'm sure you probably voted for that one. And I gave up trolling for Lent, so I've been having a field day with this since it's Easter, and I'm no longer bound by my Lenten promises. So, it's, yeah, like, it's just utterly ridiculous, the comments that I'm seeing people make. Like, I guess the state Democratic Party chair in Virginia also agreed that, we're now irrelevant, and, at the same time, they're saying we're irrelevant, but they're also saying that we're going to cost Biden the election, and it's like, okay, if we're not irrelevant, if we're going to cost him the election, we can't be irrelevant. That's an utterly, that just doesn't make sense. If we cost Biden the election, we're pretty damn relevant, you might say, but obviously that's not actually going to happen, because just not endorsing Biden does not mean we're endorsing Trump. That's just not how logic works. That's not how elections work. That's not how reality works. You guys are being totally ridiculous. Another tweet from that Nathan Newman guy, he said, many DSA folks defamed the leaders of the Working Families Party for their endorsement of Warren, but now DSA won't even allow a membership vote on whether to endorse Biden. Okay, different organizations, different processes. Their Working Families Party was not entirely upfront with that one. Many expected that the votes would just be straight up cast for the endorsement, and the winner of the membership vote would be the endorsement, which Bernie won, but then, they had their own little electoral college system, I guess you could say, which Warren won, so that is not exactly a valid criticism here. We were never going to consider this one because we passed it democratically as an organization. We were just never going to do it, and we made this decision in August. We made this decision months ago. We made this decision months before the first primary ballots were even cast. At that time, it looked like Biden was already set to be the nominee anyways, so we decided not, we just said we're going to stick our guns on Bernie, and if he's not the nominee, we'll move on and do other things, but we're not going to endorse whoever the winner is, because, not a good use of our time, resources, and money. Like, this is just, God, this criticisms are just kind of ridiculous. Like, you're, oh, I just got okay, another tweet. This is from a response, and I'm just going to go ahead and respond to it here. Okay, wow, in 2016, Dems ran away from us, from socialists, and now some are demanding DSA endorse a Dem candidate. This is silly. They demand our endorsement, but reject our issues. Do not waste your time, Brendan. In fairness, I needed something to do with my time, and I felt like doing this anyway. Plus, I'm also doing class credits for doing live streams. So, I figured I'll waste my time with it. Plus, it's Easter, so, I'll indulge myself a little bit. But this is just quite ridiculous what I'm hearing from a lot of people on Twitter and other social media platforms that are saying that we are endorsing Donald Trump by doing this, that we're somehow becoming irrelevant, but at the same time we're still relevant enough to cost Biden the election. That's just not how this stuff works. But we will not be endorsing Joe Biden. But what we will be doing is we will be devoting our time, energy, money, and resources to electing down-ballot socialist candidates, many of whom are running as Democratic Party candidates who have won or are still running in their relevant primaries, re-electing people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib, and working to get non-electoral campaigns off the ground and build the socialist and workers' movements in the United States. We will help union campaigns. We'll be there on the front lines of the picket lines. We'll be there, we'll be there helping tenants associations. We'll help out the LGBTQIA community. We'll be there protesting police brutality with Black Lives Matter. We'll be protesting neo-Nazis whenever they come to town. We'll be organizing all of these things, and we'll be fighting on all of these fronts, non-electorally as well as electorally. That's what we're going to do with our time, because that is what our movement is trying to do. We're not just a Democratic Party fan club. We're the Democratic Socialists of America. We believe in democratic socialism. We are an organization which has principles and values, and we have a strategy of our own, and that strategy does not call for endorsing centrist, liberal, arguably conservative candidates like Joe Biden, who would do everything they could to stop our agenda from ever going into effect. That would be utterly nonsense for us to consider doing that. So, to all the libs that are complaining DSA isn't endorsing Joe Biden, you clearly don't care much about us in the first place, and we're just preparing to write us off anyways. So, you've had your fun. Now go home. And if you want to do something good for your candidate, go knock some doors. Go make some, well, not right now. Let me back that one up. Go make some calls. Text all your friends. Tell them to go vote for Joe Biden. Do stuff like that. Give some money to Biden's campaign. Do things like that if you want Joe Biden to get elected. In the meantime, we're going to work on things that will empower our movement, empower the working class, so that we can make our vision for the future a reality. That's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be fighting your fight for you. We're going to be fighting our fights, and you're welcome to join us if you want to, but if not, then go away. We don't need you, and you clearly don't need us, except when it sounds like you really want us. So are you demanding us to endorse your candidate now? Earn it. Ask for it. Give us something in return, and you're not giving us much. So, no, we're not going to endorse Joe Biden. I may or may not vote for him in the general. I may or may not vote for a third party. That's for me to know and for you to not find out. So thanks so much, but dear liberals, please go away. And actually, I am going to respond to a few comments here. E pluribus, you're great. I love you, dude. Can't wait for them to bitch and moan when Socialist Alternative doesn't endorse Biden. Yeah, I can't wait for that one either. And do that. Yeah, I said that on there. Thank you. That was the Lee Carter bill I was talking about. It capped insulin prices at $50 a month. Yeah. So that guy from Virginia who is declaring us irrelevant, did you vote for that bill? Well, I think we're pretty damn relevant since we just passed that bill. One of our members who we helped elect to office in your party, I might add, just passed a really good piece of legislation. So, if you want our endorsement, come and get it. But we've already said, we decided democratically as an organization, we're not going to endorse you or your candidate. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye. And to all the socialists watching, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And please be sure to go to my Patreon and help me out. I'm trying to find the time to do more of these things, and it would really help if I could get some financial support so I could, work less shifts at the grocery store and expose myself less to COVID-19. So thanks so much, and solidarity.